Hi, I'm Nicole Yeates from Get Brain Fit, and I'm soon to be on the online prosperity show where I'm going to talk to you about increasing your brain function, growing your brain, increasing your memory, focus, productivity, and grit while reducing your chances of getting Alzheimer's disease. Plus, you're going to learn some cool focus technique.
Welcome to our wonderful viewers to another episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and boy, do we have a treat for you today. Get ready to laugh, learn, and be inspired because we're about to dive into the extraordinary world of Nicole Yeates, a true brain changer who's come back from the dead in more ways than one. Now, Nicole, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Prosper. Great to be here.
Absolutely. Now, for those that are just wondering what I just said in the last sentence, yes, Nicole is going to tell us her story. And obviously, her journey isn't just inspiring, but it's downright miraculous. From facing a prognosis of expected, death or life in a vegetative state to becoming a keynote speaker, brain optimization consultant, and best-selling author. I think Nicole's story will leave you in awe. So grab your favorite snack, depending on what time it is, your whiskey, your coffee, or Coca-Cola, or something nutritious. Sit back and get ready for one of the best episodes that I think we've done in a while. Now, Nicole, I could go on and on talking about your accolades and your experience. See, we could have just looked at your website if that's what we wanted, but we've got you here to spill the beans. Could you maybe tell our audience who you are and what it is that you do in your own words?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Nicole Yates from Get Brain Fit. Basically, I help people improve their memory, focus, productivity, and grit through getting brain fit. I help people reduce their risks of Alzheimer's disease. I help them reduce their incidence of procrastination so they can basically get into goal getting instead of goal setting. So, turning that intention into an actual goal striving action. So basically, I help people improve their lives and reach their true potential using their brain.
Fantastic. And this is something that not a lot of people have been taught to do, even though we all possess one. What inspired you to get into this type of work?
Look, through my own experience with traumatic brain injury, actually, Prosper. So at the age of 16, I was basically going to a basketball game to watch my friends play basketball. And it was a Friday night. I was living in New Zealand at the time, and back then, crazily enough, you were able to get your driver's license at just 15. Crazy. They've changed it now. But I'd been working from a young age, so I got my first tax return at the age of 16, and it wasn't enough to buy a car, but it was enough to buy a motorcycle. So that's what I did. Keen to be independent. So I was driving on my motorbike to the basketball game. And as I was driving along a road and there was a river on the side of the road. And as I approached a roundabout, it was like a crossroads coming off a bridge, my lights just suddenly went out for no reason. A guy in a car didn't see me. So my plan, it was too late to stop at the roundabout. So my plan was to get to the other side of the roundabout, pull over and figure out what had gone wrong with my lights. I never got to the other side of the roundabout. So a man in his Holden collected me. I got entangled in my motorbike. My motorbike got entangled on his bumper bar and he sped from the scene. He dragged my youthful body along that cold, hard concrete for about 200 meters. And he kept going, just kept going, leaving me on the road for dead. When my bike did finally come off, so did his license plate. They did get him eventually. But I was left on the road for dead. That's where I had my first near-death experience in the middle of the road. I was basically a man in his, a nurse actually, a nurse from the local spinal unit happened to be driving by and thought I was a jacket in the middle of the road and stopped to pick it up. Found me. Yeah. Miraculously, he had oxygen in his car. He resuscitated me, oxygen on me, called the ambulance. I was taken to hospital. That's where I had my second near-death experience under the CAT scan. And that was my most vivid near-death experience. But from there, my mother was told to expect death or life in a vegetative state for me. I lapsed into a natural coma, remained in a coma for 3 weeks, woke up, couldn't talk, couldn't walk, couldn't move any part of my body, couldn't communicate. It looked like a vegetative state might be the result. But I had a great team around me. I had a really supportive mother. I had my own inner determination. I refer to myself as a expert barrier cracker. And from there was lots of rehab. There were lots of barriers to get through too. I had epilepsy. I couldn't remember the town I grew up in. I had, even when I could walk, there were things like I couldn't get up and down from the floor on my own. I had to learn to go to the toilet again. I really had to start from scratch. So that was the start of my journey and the start of my interest in all things brain.
Wow. And thank you so much for sharing that story in and of itself. I mean, at 16, you've just, like you said, gotten independence and you
Hmm.
literally had the world and life ahead of you, which, um, well, you still do, so to speak. So, yeah,
It,
and
yeah, it was a life-changing event for sure.
absolutely, absolutely. And obviously, things would have happened during that time. How did you then recover from all of this?
Yeah, look, I mean, I had incredible support. My mother never stopped believing in me. And, when the doctors basically said, expect death or life in a vegetative state to her, her response was, you don't know my daughter. You don't know how strong she is. And to help have that kind of conviction so early in the piece, um, she believed that the Nicole that walked out the door on the 19th of June 1987 would come home eventually. And when I did come home a few months after the accident, um, I wasn't the same person. So she had to basically get to know, get to accept a new daughter. The girl that walked out the door on the 19th of June 1987 was this shy kind of girl who would go to a party and only talk to the people she knew. The girl that came out of hospital had no filter whatsoever. My frontal lobe function was very low, and I just said whatever would come to my head. I could be embarrassing or offensive or both. And if you had a pimple on your face, I'd tell you about it. If your butt looked too big in those jeans, I'd tell you about it. It wasn't pretty, and that caused issues with relationships as well. So, probably one of the hardest things about a brain injury, and especially if you have that kind of personality change and that adjustment, those adjustment to disability issues, a lot of your friends reject you, and they can't cope. They don't know how. So that sent me into a suicidal state, to be honest. I wish that I'd never survived the accident at one point. And but that mindset wasn't going to get me anywhere. So instead, I started to focus on the things that I could control. So the things that I could control were things like doing research into how I can improve my brain, how can I improve my memory. And I learned memory strategies like mnemonics to remember lists and uh, all sorts of things that would help my brain grow. And as well as all of the traditional rehabilitation, the physiotherapy, the occupational therapy, the speech therapy, the neurotherapy, all of that helped as well.
Fantastic. And while this was happening, did you notice the change yourself, or were you only told by the feedback you were getting from other people that this is not the person that we used to know? Because I don't know if you would have
Yeah,
used that yourself.
yeah, good question. Yeah, a bit of both, to be honest, Prosper. So, yes, I mean, I was acutely aware of the fact that I was no longer independent and I couldn't do all the cool things that my teenage friends were doing. So that there were some changes that you just couldn't help but miss. But in regard to the personality changes, they were more things that my mother brought to my awareness, or other people would say in conversation, you used to be like that, and you've changed, and those sorts of comments. Yeah.
Do you think that this is something that a lot of people really go through where they might not notice how they're acting or who they're becoming, but the people that are around them are the ones that then sort of maybe put them on the straight and narrow? Because I would suppose people don't, fish don't see the water they swim in, and neither can
Mm,
see the air that they.
yeah. Yes, for sure. It's yeah, I think the people around you, in the case of brain injury in particular, are kind of your feedback loop for the changes a lot of the time. And not all of the changes, obviously, but those adjustment to disability issues and things are things that I certainly internalized, and that led to becoming more depressed and suicidal. But yeah, other people, and progressive brain disease too, it can be a case of people start to forget more, and they may not be acutely aware of it. So it could be their partner that actually says, you seem to be becoming really forgetful lately. And, that can be a trigger to do some research into maybe what's happening. And, we have so much within our control, like Alzheimer's disease, for example. Even if you have the APOE4 gene, which puts you at higher risk of Alzheimer's disease, it's not an absolute that you're going to get it. Our genes are like the gun. Our behavior is the trigger that sets off the gene. So if we are looking after our brains, if we're practicing good brain healthy habits, even if you have the gene, you've got a higher chance of it not being activated by looking after your brain.
Absolutely. Now, you did mention that you had sort of lost cognitive use or use of your frontal lobe. Are you suggesting that we've got more than one brain?
No, no, not suggesting we've got more than one brain. We've definitely got a mind, which is the ally to the brain. So your mind, we can control our mind, our brain with our mind. So you can actually, there's a study been done where you can change the temperature of your hands using your mind. So these people under a meditation state visualize themselves either sitting next to a fire, warming their hands, or in a sauna or whatever was their visualization choice. And they had temperature gauges on their hands, and they actually changed the temperature of their hands using their mind. Imagine what we can do with our mind when we put it to the best use. And putting it to the best use, when you haven't got brain fog, when you're not procrastinating, when you can remember what you've got to do, they're all great steps in being able to get what you want out of life. And that's what I teach, those brain healthy habits, and doing brain assessments with people to determine which areas of their brain are struggling and which parts are really working well. And we can basically develop personalized optimization programs to get a person's brain into a more optimal state. It's really exciting.
I like that. It's like a nutritionist who's showing people the kind of food that they can eat so they can have
Yeah.
good senses and things like that. Now, y- you went through what you went through, and that would have left any normal person with the whole "woe is me" mentality. I gotta get better myself. But you went on and became selfless. What actually drives you to help others harness their true potential, and you not sitting at home feeling sorry for yourself?
Look, to be fair, Prosper, there was a time there that I did feel very sorry for myself. And, it wasn't until I took that first step. And I actually did a psychology course at night school when in my last year of high school. So I did get back to high school. And it was during that psychology course that I learned about the memory and different aspects of memory and ways to improve it and tricks and tips and things to help to manage it. And so once I just got that piece of information, which was something I could control, and that was probably the turning point. It was about those little things that I could do that were within my control. I couldn't read a book. My memory and focus was so bad when I came out of the coma that I couldn't read a book. I couldn't read a book for about a year. I had to basically start sentence by sentence and make notes. And then, I might read a page and take notes on that page. And then the next day I'd go back to the book, review my notes on the page, and read the next part to try and rebuild my brain. So it was those sort of little things that I did independently that really drove me to the next step, because the brain loves completion. If you start something, you've got this big goal, but when we break it down and we start one thing and complete it, our brain's motivated to complete the next part. So that was a really big piece in basically motivating me to get to the next stage.
Absolutely, because
Meditation.
and it all builds up, over time. Now, you mentioned that the 16-year-old that left the house on that fateful day was shy and timid and just an ordinary girl. But then you came
Yes.
back a superhero, so to speak. Like
Thank you.
how superheroes go into like a booth and then they come out, because now you've gone on and utilized all these uncommon ways, first of all, to grow your own business. And congratulations. You also used that for keynote speaking. I think it was
Mhm.
Einfeld that mentioned that some people would rather be in the coffin than give the eulogy, but you are
Yes.
utilizing that. So that's no longer the shy 16-year-old there, and you've written a best-selling book. Can you maybe share how, the strategies that you have learned have actually contributed to your success?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I was very lucky to have an amazing role model in my mother who role modeled resilience like a second skin. She had a lot of trauma in her life, and she didn't let anything stop her. She worked as a nurse in Saudi Arabia. She did all sorts of amazing things. She was a single mum. Dad died when I was 3, so she had a lot of challenges. Um, so that was basically that support, that role modeling was really important, and especially in those early days. But for me personally, there was I was hearing a lot of negativity from doctors. You can't, you won't, you'll never, sort of statements. And there was one psychologist who worked with me, and he taught me how to meditate. And he taught me how to meditate within a way of visualization. So I would visualize my brain as healing. And, I was expected to have epilepsy for life. I haven't had a seizure in 25 years. Basically, I just started healing my brain in a meditative state. And that was a game. Another thing that I could control, another thing I could do to empower myself on my healing journey. So from those early days, it was then stepping stones. I started off doing a beauty therapy diploma and working as a beauty therapist for 15 years. I was told I'd never be able to go to university. So after a few years of working as a beauty therapist, I started managing other people's salons and things. And then I sort of started to think, maybe I could go to university. Because before the accident, I wanted to be a psychologist. Now, so basically it went from there, that thought, to, okay, what can I do to increase my chances of getting into university? So I researched degrees. I did rehabilitation counselling as my degree, and then went on to do my brain health educator. qualifications, became an accredited mediator, and I've been working in the occupational health industry for the last 19 years. And then out of that came my business, Get Brain Fit, where I'm specifically working with people who want to improve their cognitive functioning, want to reduce their risks of Alzheimer's disease, want to reach their true potential and hit their goals.
Because once you tap into utilizing your brain fully, because so many of us just outsource that to society, the media, the government, or whoever seems to have got it figured out. And
Mm.
do you think there's something wrong with that? Why would we need to go to brain gym or get our brains fit?
Well, because that sense of empowerment, when you're doing things well, when you're hitting your goals, when, like procrastination is actually a health issue. When you're procrastinating, all those to-dos of weighing your shoulders down, you get anxious. What happens when you get anxious? You get stressed, or when you get stressed, you get anxious, releasing cortisol and creating inflammation in the body and shrinking your brain. When you're procrastinating, that that stress and anxiety can lead to depression. It can lead to job loss. So financially, that can be a cost as well to you. So, yeah, basically empowering yourself with better brain health and better cognitive function it can change your life. It really can. Gives you more
Absolutely.
energy, gives you more confidence, gives you more time because you're able to focus. You're able to have that laser focus on the things you need to do. And yeah, that's amazing.
I can only imagine because if you can't do well if you don't feel well, and if your brain
Mm,
not, working, with you to help you be, do, and have all the things that
yes.
you want, it's literally deterring you. And half of the time, apparently, our brains are just designed to keep us alive. Anything
Mm,
else, we literally have to add onto them, and they always follow the least path of resistance. So if something is seemingly hard or is a cumbersome task, we procrastinate, and like you said, it just jeopardizes our quality of life and the relationships that
mm.
sort of
I
end.
mean, you hear things on the media all the time, like, with, for example, with smoking advertisements. The smoking advertisements, they talk about the heart and the lungs and the damage that's going to do. They don't talk about the damage to the brain. You know, Smoking cigarettes slows blood flow to the brain, which increases your risk of Alzheimer's disease. It slows your cognitive functioning. Too much coffee can do the same thing. Sugar shrinks the brain. There are all these things that people just don't know. Getting a minimum of 7 hours sleep a night so that you can reduce your chances of brain shrinkage and Alzheimer's disease. So important. People need to know this stuff to lead a longer life and a life with quality of life. I mean, there's no point living a longer life if it's not full of quality, right?
Absolutely. I quite like the sugar thing that you just brought up here and shrinking the brain. Is that the reason why people get angry?
Actually, sugar does have an effect on the brain in that way. Which studies have shown that too. It does increase, yeah, there's higher propensity for anger and impulsivity. Yes.
Absolutely. Now, you've got a workshop that you conduct. I think it's called Unlock Your Brain's True Potential. Can
Yes.
you maybe let us know a little bit about what people can expect from these events and what are the benefits of participating?
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm really excited about this event, Prosper. It's 29th of February in Brisbane. At Chermside Library. We've got a room booked there, and I've got a team of people who are going to help everyone reach their true potential. All the participants that come will get information basically on boosting their brain, decreasing their risk of Alzheimer's disease. We've got Dr. Scott Fox, who's an acupuncturist, talking about how acupuncture can help with brain function as well. We have Karen Owen, who's a spinal spinal therapist, spinal flow therapist, a practitioner, talking about how, the spine, unblocking the spinal passage can basically help the brain. We've got a clinical nutritionist, Renee Bailey, who's also going to be there talking about how diet impacts brain and cognitive functioning. So it's a whole powerhouse of experts on the day who are going to help people reach their true potential through increased cognitive functioning.
That's amazing because if we can all maximize our brain, and it improves our anatomy, our physiology, and just everything else with the way
Mm,
the world is moving so fast. If we're not cognitively present and healthy mentally,
mm,
so many things are just designed to just be, the thing that just takes that out of our path. And
yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
What
And
would be the
when
best?
our brains work right, we work right.
You can't do well if you don't feel well. That's just something that I've always known. Now, what would be the best way that people can get a hold of you so that they can actually get brain fit?
Yeah, they can go to my website, www.getbrainfit.com.au. They can reach out. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. So just look up Get Brain Fit and Nicole Yeates. And yeah, would love to work with anyone who's interested in growing their brain and reaching their true potential, getting rid of procrastination, so that you can really hit those goals.
Mm. Nicole, looking at your story, your life story, and your experience have so much value for a lot of people that don't necessarily have to go through a traumatic experience. But, some people might say the last couple of years have just been as traumatic to them as anything. You know what I mean? Everyone has their path laid out for them, and you went through what you went through, and other people are going through what they go through. But I feel like the woman I'm speaking to right now is not the person I would have spoken to had that event not happened. Now, reflecting on
Mm.
your journey, if you could maybe give one piece of advice to your younger self that was contemplating self-harming, what would it be and why?
Yeah, it would be, well, for me, it would be not to take on other people's limiting beliefs. You know, we have enough limiting beliefs of our own. We don't need to take on other people's. So, find a way. It only takes one step. The progress, one step. What's one thing that you can do differently today? Just one thing to basically help your brain get into the right space. And that might be simply walking. You might walk the same way to work every day. You might drive the same way to work every day. Shake it up. Take a different pathway. Do something different to what you normally do, and that'll help unlock other areas of your brain too. So try doing some focus exercises even. Do you want to do a focus exercise, Prosper?
Fantastic. Yeah, that would be
All
amazing.
right. Give me a peace sign. Now turn it to the side.
Just give me a second there. All right.
Okay.
So, peace sign.
Turn it to the side. Now you've got rabbit ears. Rabbits jump. So like this. Now on your other hand, you've got a tortoise. Tortoise is going to try and chase the rabbit. Can't get it, so it swaps over. The tortoise becomes the rabbit. Yep, like that. Yeah, like that. Now, you go. Yeah, but look, tortoises can't jump, can they? So the tortoise has got to be straight. If you can do that sort of exercise once every hour or two, just break up your day. That's it. No, don't. That tortoise can't jump. The tortoise doesn't have legs to jump.
Oh, wait a minute.
So
You actually, okay. All right. All right. So,
yeah,
so
like
my
that.
my whole thing is to get the rabbit straight,
The
right?
rabbit's got to be jumping, and the tortoise has got to be straight.
Peace, peace. All right. Okay.
So that's a cross-lateral brain exercise which can help with focus. So if you just stop every hour or two from getting doing your day-to-day tasks in front of a computer and do that, that'll help increase your focus.
My kids are gonna be wondering what exactly is going on today. Like for real. It's like if I joined a gang or something like that, or
All right, we'll try another one. So you can touch your ear and your nose
all
like
right.
that, and then swap it over.
Okay, so touch your ear.
Right hand on your ear, left hand on your nose, and then swap it over. Left hand on your ear, right hand on your nose, like that. Yeah, like that. And add a clap in the middle.
Okay. All right. I think I need a lot of work with my brain because my brain is
So that's just a few fun things you can do to basically help increase your function and your focus on a day-to-day basis.
I now look like a
There we go. There we go.
yeah, but you have to do it fast, like what you were, you know.
And then add a clap in. Clap,
Oh,
clap.
okay. So it gets more right. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Is this the kind of stuff that people are going to be also doing at the function? Because I think
Yes, absolutely. At the part of the end of the function of the event on the 29th of February, we'll be doing workshops. So each of us practitioners will be doing workshops with people. I'll be doing a memory and focus workshop. We'll also have Dr. Scott will be doing a heart pulse analysis, a free heart pulse analysis on people, which is a diagnostic tool, an ancient Chinese kind of method where feeling your heart pulse can actually tell lots of things about your health. Just amazing. The dietitian will be doing something. We'll be doing posture checks. So there's lots of things happening in the workshop space at the event. So it's going to be really exciting. Lots of
absolutely.
value.
Absolutely. See, I did promise our audience this is going to be one of those episodes, that is going to be one of the best episodes on this show already. And yeah, I think this is going to be fun. I will put all the details in the show notes so that people can actually get started on the journey because now I think I'm good at this now. See, I should start every video with, like
You've just created a new neural pathway, Prosper.
oh, I felt it. I just felt it being created as we go. Well, Nicole, I can't thank you enough for the time that we spent on the call today. I mean, at the end of the day, this is serious matters, especially serious matters of the brain. And I really hope a lot of people took, the value that you brought to the show. And congratulations on your recovery and everything else that came along with it.
Thank you.
Story you shared with us is just remarkable in and of itself. So yeah, I appreciate you shedding light on what's actually possible if you apply your brains.
Yeah. The world of neuroplasticity, neuroscience has, once upon a time, they thought that the brain was fixed like the concrete under our feet. Now we know that's not the case. The brain can change.
Absolutely. And there you have it, folks. A journey of resilience, inspiration, and brain power like no other. But your adventure doesn't end here. See, I've got things now. I can't do this now. You see, like you did the other time, that brain thing. My brain fixates on a lot of things. So if you found Nicole's story as captivating as I definitely did, be sure to watch this episode once again so you can actually sit back and take notes like she was taking notes while she was learning to read because when people show you new ways of being and a new way of life and having experienced something and came back still being able to tell us a story, I think you ought to listen and take note because some of these things we won't be able to experience them, but we can experience them through other people's experiences and we can learn from that. Okay. So be sure to share this episode with your friends as well. Plus, don't forget to subscribe for more insightful episodes like this, where we explore parts of online prosperity and being, doing, and having a happier existence like what Nicole is now experiencing. Nicole, thank you once again for your time on the show. I'll make sure that all the links are in the show notes so that people can start their discovery on their own. And yeah, after having been introduced to you on the show.
Thank you so much, Prosper. It's been a pleasure.
Fantastic. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep prospering. Bye for now.